Okay, so today's topic, this is a problem. So today we're going to discuss about the ashrama part. We can start reading as usual, and then we can discuss. So would like to start?
I will read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, thanks.
Ashrama. The ashrama system is engaged in four stages of life in order for one to reach spiritual perfection. The first stage is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means student life or education with the spiritual master. According to the ashrama system, at 5 years of age, a boy goes to live at the Gurukula or the place of the Guru. There, in order to understand spiritual life, all students serve as a menial servants of the Guru. This way is advised by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 4.34. By performing the service unto a pure devotee, a brahmachari is making direct service contact with the God. The brahmachari is trained to be celibate and temperate and to follow the scriptural injunctions for purification of consciousness. Moreover, one must enter brahmacharya training, even if he is not to be later married, so that he can learn the principle of restraint. This practice of brahmacharya inculcates in one the desire for Krishna because it restrains the sensual propensities which are the cause of our bondage to the material world. Would like to continue, Prabhuji?
And how much it is? Let me check. Yeah, I think we can continue on this. It's a long.
Yeah, essential training. Among other things, the brahmachari is required to restrict his sleep. He is expected to rise 1.5 hours before sunrise in order to take advantage of the early hours, which are said to be the most auspicious for spiritual development. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the habits of brahmachari are described. The brahmachari must rise early in the morning and later placing himself, he should chant the holy name. Bhakti Vedanta purports the what is this,
Srimad
Prabhuji?
Bhagavatam.
Srimad
Bhagavatam.
Bhagavatam 3.21.45. In a, it is further described that the brahmachari body and face should give off a luster. When the spiritual master understands the qualities of a student, then he decides how he should work, whether a brahmacharya, whether as brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra. Thus, the student goes into any occupation or spiritual order implanted with the seed of devotional service and the ability to control his senses over the four animal propensities. Married life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, you can
Okay.
continue, or somebody can.
Married life. The second ashrama order is called Grahastha. The married family man, Grahastha, does not mean married life for indulgence in sex and family affairs. Grahastha is a bona fide spiritual order. There is another word in Sanskrit, Brahmedi, which is a description of married life without spiritual goals. Such marriage, in which one uses contraceptive methods in order to enjoy sex life, raises children who become like cats and dogs, and devotees one's occupational income and energy for elevating the material standard of his family is a waste of women and devotes, sorry, Prabhuji, raises children who became like cats and dogs and devotes one's occupational income and energy for elevating the material standard of his family is a waste of human life. Sex is there, like eating, and there is no bar for Krishna consciousness for a married man. If one feels some disturbance in living single, he can get married. Many of the great authorities in the science of God, like Lord Brahma, Prahlad Maharaj, uh, Bhakti Vinoda, Bhakti Vinoda Thakura, and His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, were family men. Marriage in the spiritual order is for the purpose of living peacefully and having children in Krishna consciousness. Like the Varna, the Ashrama orders are natural and based on the principle of human life in terms of whole span of life. The goal of Ashrama is not sense gratification, but liberation from the material condition and attainment of the highest goal. The first part of life. Brahmacharya is utilized for development of character and spiritual qualities. Then around age 25, if he has the desire to be married, he may. As the next a natural part of life, accept a wife and beget children. But one should not beget children like cats and dogs. A child should be begotten who can perform duties for God. Otherwise, there is no need to marry and no need of children. The parent should see to it that the child born of them must not enter the womb of the mother again. The child should be trained for being liberated in that life. Ashrama teaches that human life is specially meant for being completely devoted to the Lord. Among the duties and responsibilities of the householders is that he take care of the other spiritual orders. By occupation, the Vaishyas produce food for everyone. By spiritual order, the householder feed the others as far as possible. Also, according to the example of the great devotee Rupa Goswami, a householder should give at least 50% of his income for propagation of Krishna consciousness, 25% of his household upkeep for his household upkeep, and 25% set aside for emergencies. The Grahastha lives as a householder, pros- prosecuting Krishna consciousness with every endeavor.
Thank you, Antaji. I think somebody else can read now. A tired life.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna Prabhuji. Shall I read?
Yes, Mataji.
Retired life. Let us say that a man lives 100 years. The first 25 years he is student. The years from 25 to 50 are good for producing children and so may be spent in householder life. Then after 50 years of age, the man is expected to retire and leave his household affairs in the hands of his oldest son. The stage is called Vanaprastha. He retires and with his wife travels to holy places. Then gradually he leaves his wife in the care of the older children. It is not that the wife is left deserted on the road. According to the Vedic civilization, the woman is never independent. She is in the hands of her father until she is handed over in marriage. And then she becomes the charge of her husband. When the sons are grown up and it's time for the husband to take sannyasa, he leaves his wife in charge of his elder sons. The Srimad Bhagavatam narrates the history of Kardama Muni, a great yogi householder who lived at the dawn of creation and who strictly followed the scriptural injunction by leaving his home to take the renounced life of a wandering sannyasi. His case was most exceptional because after his long austerities and practice of yoga, Gardama Muni and his wife Devavati had been blessed to have born unto them the incarnation of God known as Kapila Deva, who taught the famous Shankya philosophy to the world. Gardama Muni's exalted position was that God himself was in his home as his son, and still Gardama Muni left his home in strict observance of the injunction that one must spend his last days away from home and without family connection in pursuit of spiritual life. Kapila Deva encouraged his father not to deviate from the scriptures and he assured him that as Supreme Lord, he would always be with his father residing in his heart. Thus, Gardama Muni left his wife in the charge of his son Kapila and became a wandering sannyasi, totally dependent on Krishna for his food and lodging. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Should I
Antaji.
continue or
I can ask someone else. Anybody else
okay?
can read?
Hare
Not
Krishna
shorter.
Prabhuji.
Thank you. So anybody can read Sannyasa. It's safe.
I'll read Prabhuji. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Mataji.
The renounced order. Sannyasa is required so that the materially engrossed householder can get out of his mundane occupations before the time of death. The bona fide sannyasi who has received information from authorized scriptural sources and from a spiritual master in disciplic succession must not be merely self satisfied in that knowledge because he is needed by society at large to go and preach to the people and inject them with the immediacy of immediacy means immediate need for, so the immediacy of eternal spiritual values. If the sannyasi does not teach the common man of their spiritual nature, then they will have wasted the human form of life. It is possible by direct surrender to God to be factually sannyasa or renounced, even while living at home with wife and children. But the existence of the sannyasi in the renounced order, either as a missionary with a large following or as a wandering hermit, will culminate in the highest form of human being, the Paramahamsa, or intimate pure devotee of Krishna, who is without envy and always fixed in ecstatic absorption of love of God. The four orders and castes of Varnashrama, Dharma, are meant to perfect human society. The four orders become distinct where there is enlightenment. Such spiritual life is actually the most democratic because God accepts as wonderful whoever surrenders to Him. By the material standard, the rich are great. But in spiritual life, the most advanced person serves all others and brings them to Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, the most advanced person gives up everything, whereas in material life, the most advanced is greedy, vicious, and dangerous to mankind at large. The real democracy we need is democracy of spiritual consciousness, the understanding that all belong to God and every living being is Krishna's beloved creature. Any man who has taken up devotional service is to be respected, regardless of his position. And at the same time, whatever qualities he displays in terms of work, he can use for Krishna. From Back to Godhead magazine, 1966 to 2008. Back to Godhead magazine.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Okay, so I think it is a little long narration is there in this today's topic. So maybe we can just discuss actually the important points in this. Okay, so so we all of us know about the four ashramas, right? Anybody has any doubt in that? Brahmacharya, then Grihastha, then Vanaprastha and Sannyasa, right? These are the four orders. So yeah, in the beginning, what is discussed is actually about the Brahmachari life. First state of Brahmacharya. So somebody can give points and then we can discuss. I think that will be better. So we can go by paragraphs. In first paragraph, what are the important points we understood?
Hare
The
Krishna.
first, you tell Mataji.
No,
Not a
Mataji,
problem. Yeah.
please carry on, Mataji.
So the idea is that see, we'll just discuss what is the important points in the paragraph, and we have to ensure that we understood what is the intent, no? So that we are completely clear about this. Though actually, yeah, these things, all of them in today's world, people doesn't follow. Mostly brahmacharya is very rare, and grihastha ashrama is only thing actually which is which is followed mostly, and not everybody is a grihastha. Only somebody, see, in all the ashramas the Lord has to be there. If it is disconnected, like we have karma yoga, jnana yoga, like jnana yoga and bhakti yoga, four yogas, right? So this yoga is because of the yoga, otherwise it is karma kanda, right? Jnana kanda, etc. It becomes so when it is becoming yoga, when the Lord's connection to Krishna is there or Supreme Lord is there, then it becomes yoga. So when it becomes yoga only, there is some value. Otherwise, it is no. It will just make us continue in the material cycle of birth and death. So similarly, in the ashrama also, unless and until there is God consciousness, right? Then actually it doesn't have much value. So just because somebody is married and living in a as a family, it doesn't mean that it's a grihastha. No, he's called a grihamedi if he's not actually having Krishna in the center or he's not a devotee. So this part we have to understand. So yeah, so grihastha life is also full of responsibilities. Okay, so I'm just giving an overview. to understand that. So in today's world, actually, mostly even if there are devotees, mostly most of them are grahasthas. There are few brahmacharis and then very very few sannyasis. And vanaprastha is also is very rarely done. So yeah, that is just an overview. So now Mataji, Satyam Mataji or Revati Mataji, you can go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Uh,
Yes.
the first para says that what are the ashrams and what type of things we have to follow in the four types of ashram. They are beginning with the brahmacharya and at what age we are supposed to go. Means they are saying they are mentioning here that at 5 years we are supposed to see that. And brahmacharya means not only being in the gurukul and learning different scriptures, it's about doing the service to our guru or spiritual master. By that way, the students get to know the real, what to say, Prabhuji, uh, mm, real
Real
aspect
knowledge.
of, yeah, real knowledge. Like it is mentioned, no, Prabhuji, that Guru is the representative of Krishna. So keep it means when the child is serving the master or the Guru, it means he is serving the Krishna. That's what is mentioned here, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes, that's true. Yeah. So basically, brahmacharya life actually. So this 5 years thing actually is coming from Prahlad Maharaj's conversation. No? In the conversation between I think Prahlad Maharaj and is even Prahlad Maharaj is talking to his other classmates, right? Then actually he's describing that, like he was explaining the importance of becoming devoted at a very young age, right? Kaumarya, what is that? Kaumaram Acharet Prajna, something like that. A shloka is there. So actually, there is tells the importance of starting Krishna consciousness at the very early stage. Let me see. I don't know. I don't exactly remember the shloka. Kaumaram. I think it is not correct. Yeah, this is the shloka. Uh, Shripralad Kumara Acharit Pratno Dharman Bhagavadan Hida Durlabam Manusham Janma Tadabi Adruvam Artadam. So what it says is that Prahlad Maharaj said, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagement. The human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporarily like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human form of life, one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. Right, so I think somewhere it is this Kaumara age actually generally start with 5. I think it's as per the this thing. So, so that is why actually it is mentioned that we are doing it. So any training we know that, right? The earlier we start, it is better actually for us to practice. So that is why in a very small age, actually, children are sent to a gurukul, to be trained under the spiritual master, and they learn to control the senses. They learn to perform austerities. So like that, if you are trained, then actually they can become successful, in the further ashramas. But if it is very difficult that somebody doesn't practice, he goes to gurukul, practice under a guru and brahmacharya, if it is not practiced, then it is very difficult to follow other ashramas also. It will be very difficult. So that is why, it is a systematic progress, right, from one ashrama to another. Okay, so and then yeah, as Revati Mataji mentioned, the important aspect of the mercy of the Lord actually comes from the mercy of the spiritual master, right? We know in Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned, no, that tadvidi pranipatayana pariprashnena sevaya udekshayanda detnanam taninam tatodarshina. So pari what is that? Tadvidi pranipatayana pariprashnena sevaya. Seva word is used actually. So one has to render service to the spiritual master and to satisfy, please the spiritual master. Then actually the spiritual master will show mercy on the disciple, right? So this is very important aspect in the brahmacharya life. Anybody has any questions in the first paragraph or any other comments or points to mention? Okay, let's move on then. Essential training. Okay, second paragraph. What is in? Somebody can give some points. I think Sushil Prabhu and Chetan Prabhu is not telling anything. Maybe Chetan Prabhu or Sushil Prabhu, can you give some points here? Okay, maybe we can give some more time. Maybe next paragraph, Sushil Prabhu can tell. So, who would like to tell this paragraph? Fatima Mataji, you would
Prabhuji,
start to tell, or yeah, Chitra Mataji. So anybody is fine.
Prabhuji, when we're talking about brahmachari, that means up to from 5 to 25 years, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so then not only control the senses, but they have to control the sleep also. They say, and and
Yes.
they have to get up early in the morning. That is one of the things that is required of a brahmachari. And not only they do that, getting up early in the morning, but also chant the holy name. So that is what they have to do for the early training: control of senses, control of chanting the holy name, control of sleep, and service to the guru. That is the things they have to do as their basic training in a brahmachari stage.
Yes. And what next paragraph also you can
And
tell us.
And
Yes.
and according to basis, then the guru decides on the basis of how the student is, whether he's intelligent, whatever it is. Based on that, he decides whether he should fall into the category of a brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, or shudra. So besides the occupation, they should also the seed of devotional service is also implanted in them by the guru.
Yes. Yes, Niveda Mataji was saying something.
yes, Prabhu, same whatever Mataji has mentioned.
Okay.
Because basically they have mentioned here the qualities of the brahmachari and the students. Based on that, spiritual master will decide the occupation. Uh,
Yes.
okay, and the qualities is mentioned like rising early morning is the must and should for everyone. Even based on that, if they are divided also, it remains same and chanting the holy name. And the main thing is they are spoken about that they should give up lust.
Yes. So this austerity actually is an important aspect, right, in every practice. So understandably, we are trained to do austerities. It's very difficult to later perform it actually. So all these things, getting up early morning. Of course, early morning is considered as a Brahma Muhurta. Na? It is considered as a mode of goodness. It is very auspicious to do any spiritual activity. That is one reason. But otherwise, also it is an austerity to actually get up early morning, right? So like that, brahmacharis are very strictly trained from a very small age, so that for them it will be very easy to control their senses, no, or any other desires actually, because actually they have, when we are following a strict regime, right, we know that in military also it is like that, no, military there is a very strict training, military or army, any of these thing wings, if you go, there is a very rigorous and strict training, no, they are have to get up in the morning, they will get punishment for every small thing. So what happens is that they become very disciplined actually, and then they can really face very tough situations, right? So this discipline is very important if you want to achieve anything in life actually, if it is material or spiritual. So in spiritual life actually this is important, to be trained properly, so that we have a, naturally when we are able to control, like for example our urge to sleep is also, because of laziness actually we sleep more, right? So when we get up early morning, naturally our laziness will go away, right? So and then when we do these kind of austerities, actually our determination to attain something also increases. So that is why these austerities are an important part of spiritual life, right? Like whether we take ekadashi, or no, whether whatever we are trying to achieve in our spiritual life, these austerities actually gives us a stronger determination, and then so that we will not easily give up, we will be able to stick to the path. So that is why the austerity is very very important actually for a spiritual life. So the brahmacharis, they are trained actually, when we train in a very small age, then actually they are actually, they will have much more resolve, right? And then the chance of them actually getting, falling down from the spiritual path is lesser, because from very small age actually, they are not exposed to all the vices, right? So they will be able to really control their senses fully, because of this particular training. So that is what actually it used to happen earlier. And one important thing is that, see, there may be many brahmacharis, in other sampradayas also. There are so many sects, right, in today's world also. So many so-called religious organizations. So maybe many of them may be teaching them to become brahmachari, But one important factor is that unless until we have connected, we have connection to the Supreme Lord, devotional service, everything else is not very useful actually. Even you may be a great brahmachari, right? But actually, what is the use actually? Unless until you are actually you are able to develop the love of God. So it is important that at the same time, when we follow austerity, etc., we should have a proper understanding of the purpose of human life, and then we should actually practice devotional service. Then actually that brahmacharya or whatever austerity we perform will be more actually valuable, right? That's very important. Yeah, and celibacy is also very important. It is mentioned that it is further described that brahmachari's body and face should be give of luster. So one of the signs of a person who is very pure is that actually their body will have a lot of luster, right? Because of the practicing celibacy. So this is something, but just by that, no, we can't see. Always, it's a great danger to judge anybody, right? If you see somebody and say, oh, he doesn't have luster, so actually, no, he is a fallen person. Like that, we can't conclude. But generally, it is mentioned, and Prabhupada also used to discuss actually that many of the devotees, right, his disciples, when somebody used to come from outside, the press photographers or other people used to come, no, they used to tell that, okay, oh, these people are very bright, they are very happy, right? So this is also a quality, when actually you become, when you practice actually austerities, and then become purified, then actually it will reflect in our demeanor, like in our appearance. Actually, it will be reflecting. Okay, so here there are some points. Any questions are there in this part till now, or any comments? Okay, I think hopefully it is clear. Let's move on to the next part. So, Sushil Prabhu, can you just give some points about married life?
Yeah, actually, I'm not well, so today my throat is uh, I'm facing some throat issue today, so I'm not able to not speaking much today. So that's the reason.
You want to add anything, or 1 point, 2 point? Are you able to follow everything, Prabhu? You are following?
Yeah, yes. I'm actually today I'm just listening actually, so not well. That's the reason.
Okay, not a problem then. Yeah, I'll not.
Yeah.
So, if you would like, you can say. Otherwise, anybody else
Uh,
can tell some points.
mm, yeah, actually, I want to know. I mean, in this Kali Yuga, actually, so I mean, in the present age, we are not. We haven't got the. I mean, in my childhood also, I was not getting, or not even not me, but my childrens also, they are not getting that much knowledge about the brahmacharya ashram as much, because we are not in that gurukula system at the moment. But still, I would like to know how we can get that knowledge and that practice habituated uh, to our next generation, so that they will not face much issues when there is a time to start their spiritual life, because ultimately they should start their spiritual life uh, as soon as possible. But yeah, this is what I would like to add in this married life. So we should add our childrens, and we should give them more exposure to these to spirituality and this education actually, so
Yeah,
that there will be no more they will not face any issues in terms of uh, chanting 16 rounds, and those things should get like habituated. They should be their daily activity actually. They should not face much issues like that.
yes, right.
Everything should be, yeah.
Yep. So, So basically, we can understand if you read Prabhupada's book, we can understand what actually what is. So here in this particular session also, we get a lot of information what is expected, right, in a brahmachari life. So basically, see, one thing is very important is that we need association of devotees. If we are staying alone, then it is very difficult. So the children, we should give them the values. Basically getting up early in the morning, and if you have a house, basically if they participate in these programs that are happening, we have Mangalarati, so then like we offer everything to the Lord, so automatically we are following the principles which are required. If you want to strictly go to kind of a Gurukula environment, then actually there are few options available. For example, I think in Pune is there, it is there, I think, and in Vrindavan it is there, Mayapur it is there. These places there are gurukuls, which actually the children, like it's like a boarding place. They go at a small age and then they do stay, and then they completely follow this, try to follow the principles of brahmacharya life there. But if that is not practical, then actually we can, as a parents, we can try to give them the knowledge, and then train them actually. So when they're small, it is easy to train, right? We can like when we are also getting up, everybody in the house is getting up early morning, performing in Mangalarati, no, then I automatically they get that training, right? And also, if there are other devotees, right, other children of the similar age, then it will be easy for them to practice. So basically, the problem is that in the material world today, like 99.9% of people are not following these things, and the world actually outside is very wild, right? So if your child is not exposed to any of the things, then also it's a problem. So there are two things actually. So one is that like till they become big, then we have to have association of devotees and other children who are also practicing devotional service. They should have similar people, then only they will be able to understand, practice it in a proper way. So that is why to have a community of devotees is very, very important actually in such scenarios. Prabhuji, is that
Yeah,
okay?
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, so the principles we know, we should try to inculcate the values, like for example by reading the scriptures, by following a very what you call pious life kind of life. Naturally, their mentality and their mind, everything actually will become aligned to the spiritual topics. Okay, so we can, and also one more thing is that every soul is an individual. So we can only try our best actually as a parent. No, it is not necessary that every devotee family parents will have some children who are actually devotees. It is not necessary like that. No, there are a lot of exceptions always happen. So, but as a parent, it is our duty to give them all the opportunities. And if they are not taking up, actually we can't do much. We can't force them, right? We should provide them environment. We should provide them the the facilities actually by which they can understand or practice Krishna consciousness. But it is not necessary that everybody will take it up, right? So that is not in our control. So we should do our best. We give the information, pass the information to them, give the opportunity, everything, right? Give association, all those things we can do. Okay.
Yeah. So ultimately, the association. Yeah, this is the main here actually.
Yes,
Correct.
yes. So
Thank you,
you are in
Vishnu.
Ahmednagar. I forgot actually where you were.
Yeah, correct. Ahmednagar. Yeah.
How far it is from Pune? It's quite far, I think, right?
It's no, not quite far. It's just 130 kilometers. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So if you relocate to Pune, then you get more chance actually. So some of our devotees recently went, I think, Pranita Mataji and Rukmini Mataji. There are communities, devotee communities like apartment complexes, etc. near to
Mhm.
temple where only devotees are living. Right, entire complex only devotees. So such environment actually is very easy, for the children. They see every time others also practicing, all mostly spiritual activities. So they will easily catch up those things, and then it will be very easy to practice Krishna consciousness in such environment. That is the easiest thing. Otherwise, it is more effort actually. But based on our situation, we can do what is best possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct. Guruji. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So, devotees, any other question are there? Now, about married life. So, one thing we discussed already. What is the difference between a grihastha and grihamedi? Somebody can tell.
Yeah, just now you also said about that, Prabhuji. It is like Ramedi means the married life without spiritual goals. It is just for sense gratification.
Hmm. Yes. And grihastha means actually we have the spiritual goal, right? The Lord actually is the
Yes.
center of the house,
Yeah.
and then it is called grihastha life.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is a lot of difference between the two, right?
Yes.
So one thing is that always Prabhupada used to say that no, see, basically external for a materialistic person, no, he may not be able to see what is the difference really. When he sees a devotee, right, he will think that okay, he's also materialistic. There is no difference. That person also, he's having family, he's also working in some company, like everything he's doing actually, what I am doing, he's also doing. So he may not understand the difference. Externally, it may look similar, but all the difference is mainly the consciousness, right? A devotee, his consciousness is Krishna consciousness. He's aligned every activity, though it appears to be material activity. Everything is aligned and no, is done keeping the Lord actually as the goal, right? And trying to help others actually to attain Krishna consciousness. That is the difference actually. Otherwise, externally it may look all similar.
Yeah,
Okay.
and one more
Yes.
thing, like Prabhuji, brahmacharis means they they no need to work, like but they can teach and all. And but for grahastha, it is not like they have restriction. They can't offer accept the offerings from others. There is restriction for grahastha, not for brahmacharis. And so the grahastha, whatever he earns and all, he should donate to the brahmacharis and for help in Krishna consciousness this moment.
Yes, Mataji.
Is it right?
Yes. So somewhere it is mentioned as the 50%. I think Prabhupada is saying.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you're if you're a grihastha, proper grihastha who's a devotee, it is expected that half of the income actually we should give for spiritual plot, Krishna
Yeah.
conscious activity. So and then half for the maintenance of family. Sorry, 25% for maintenance and 25% for emergencies, like that. It is mentioned. So the brahmacharis are actually supported by the temple. So if you take today's world, right, in olden times actually the brahmanas, right, who are gurus, they were actually supported by the kings, or actually the ruling class. They will support them, right? They will give donation, they will give facilities so that they can train the children. So they are supported by the children. I mean, the administrative
Mm.
class of people. So they
Yeah.
they don't have to beg. See, only they used to say that Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. No, sorry. Yeah, so Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, three of them will not work under anybody. The three classes, only Shudras will work for others. Brahmana actually, they get like various charity, from kings and others. Kshatriya actually, because they are ruler, they naturally collect tax, so they get income. Vaishyas, they do business, so they get income. So these three categories of people, they doesn't have to work under anybody, right? So Brahmanas
Yes.
actually they used to beg. They can beg for the charity. They can go and ask actually, and then kings used to be very liberal, and then they used to donate them like cows, land, etc., etc. So they did not have any problem because of the arrangement. Yeah. So and brahmacharis, yeah, in today's thing also, if brahmacharis actually they will be maintained by the temple, for example. They can't, they ultimately, as you mentioned, they can't work, so they will not have any income. So they have to depend on somebody, like for example the temple, to maintain them.
Yes.
So, but in Prabhupada's time or now also brahmacharis has to work, but they don't get any income because work in the sense, they may do different activities. For example, they may do book distribution, they may do preaching. So that
Mm.
is a work actually. Like Prabhupada used to say, like we are always busy. We are more busy than the people who are Grahamedis, because all the time they are having activities. Morning they go out, they do book distribution, they do preaching, or various spiritual activities. They will collect money. They will go to for kind of making life members. They go. So it is also like it is a very difficult job. Right? Making life members mean they go and meet various business people, and then they try to convince them. But no, many times they may not behave favorably. So we have to go through all those things. But actually, they may not get any money as such, right? Money or whatever they collect, they will give to the temple, for example. Right? But they are maintained. Their needs are taken care of. Their accommodation, their food, all those things are taken care. I mean to say these brahmacharis, I'm seeing bigger grown-up people, not the
Mm.
small children. And the
Aye.
small children, of course, till they are a particular, maybe 18 years and on, they don't have to do anything. They have to just study, follow the rules and study. That's all they have to do.
Yes. And it is also mentioned what like mentioned what the grahastha should do, like how he should or he should they should bring up the family, kids and all.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and so that it is not like we should not make a child to reborn in the womb of a mother again. That should be our
yes,
duty and goal of the life.
yes. So yeah, in Bhagavatam also it is mentioned, like we should not become a mother, we should not become a father, we should not become a spiritual master, we should not become an husband, unless until we can deliver the dependence actually. So
Mm.
it's a duty of these respective roles to actually deliver the people who are dependent on them. And if you are not possible, then actually we should not. So that's what actually and then here actually then another thing is mentioned, like the example of cats and dog is mentioned, right? So basically the
Yeah.
point is that what is the difference between a human being and an animal? We discussed in the first session, right?
Yes.
So basically they say ahara nidra bhaya maitunam. So basically eating, mating, sleeping and defending. These are the four things all animals does. And if also we as human beings also we are just only doing those things, then actually we are not we are we are no better than animal. Pashuvi samana, right? Dharmo hi hina pashuve samana. Dharmo hi eko adhiko vishesho dharmo hi hina pashuve samana. So basically then it is just like a animal life, right? So one important, see what is the fundamental principle here actually, that is very important to understand. That actually what we have to understand is that, see, uh, what is the problem, like when we are in the material world, right? We say that no, we are under the influence of Maya, right? So Maya always convinces us to be on the bodily platform, right? So it always convinces that everybody thinks that I am the body, right? Even also theoretically we know, but we have to really examine ourselves. Are we behaving in the bodily platform or spiritual platform? Okay. So so basically the sense gratificatory activities, right, which is part of the family life, they actually always enforce our conviction on the bodily platform, because the activities which we do, that will always remind us that we are body, right? So that is why this is a fundamental principle, that what is the problem, right? People may think that what is wrong actually, because no, anyway we are married, what is wrong? But actually the problem is that, see, it is okay actually. The thing is that just like the Varnashrama system, right? If you follow Varnashrama system, you may take many lifetimes to attain perfection. But somebody wants to make fast perfection, then they have to give up everything and then completely dedicate to the Lord. So similarly, if you just want to live like an ordinary grihamedi, like involving sense gratificatory activities, then actually the problem is that it may take many lifetimes, because we are reinforcing our consciousness that we are on the bodily platform, right? So but gradually, by mercy of the devotees and other Vaishnavas, spiritual master, if you are gradually able to elevate or rise above that bodily consciousness, then actually our progress will be very fast in the spiritual life. So that is the that is why Prabhupada say, like it should not be like cats and dogs. No, like that example is given, we have to understand what is the principle. So there is, as such, there is nothing, it's not a big great sin or something, but the thing is that it will pull us, it will keep us in the bodily consciousness, these kind of activities. And then when we are able to give up those activities, then actually it we become purified, and then our consciousness becomes clear, and then actually we'll be rising above the bodily platform. That will be very easy and very fast progress that we can make in spiritual life. That is why these aspects are mentioned actually. We have to understand what is the principle. Okay. Yeah. So everywhere actually it is like that. See, sense gratification and the desires, right? These are the things which are actually binding. So these are the Maya shackles. So the Maya, it is mentioned that the material world is like a jail, but it's an open prison. It's Dukalayam Ashashuram, right? So Durga, right? Durga is actually she is the superintendent or the jailer, who is controlling all the people in the material world. And this jail is like that it is an open jail. No, actually there is nobody is really binding you here, but there is an invisible chain, which are the attachments and the desire for sense gratification. So these things actually is only our own desires, and our desires for enjoyment. That is what actually is binding us in the material world. So as and when we are able to give them up, right, gradually give them up, then actually then we become easily freed from the bondage of material nature and Maya. So this is what actually we have to understand. What is the fundamental principle we have to understand? Otherwise, no, initially, we may not know anything, right? So if there's a small child, right, we will give some rules to the child, saying that okay, don't do this, don't do that, no, don't do this, like that. We'll give set rules. So the child also don't know why it should not be done, no, but he just follows, and because he follows, he gets benefited. So when we are neophyte, actually it is okay. No, we just follow the rules, and there are 4 rules and regulations we follow. Okay, 4 things we have to follow. That's it. I just follow. But as we go make progress, we should understand why it is important actually. What is the purpose of following it? Then only we will be able to really appreciate and understand, and really able to make progress there. So the principles are like this actually. That we have to understand what is the fundamental principle, why we are in the material world, how material energy is controlling the living entities. So these things we have to understand, and then what is the chain that is binding us in the material world? Once we understand these things, then actually it will be easy for us to understand why we are bound and how we can free from the bondage. So that is a point we have to understand here.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay.
And that
Yeah.
is a very challenging thing.
Yes. So this all, everything is like that, Mataji. So this is very difficult. See, they say that the fundamental, this is the most important bondage in the material world. The way in
That
which actually,
giraffe thing is coming to mind, Mataji, Prabhuji. Like
which one?
it will eat giraffe in that
Yeah,
twigs. It
giraffe.
will eat itself, its flesh, and thinks it is enjoying.
That camel, no?
Camel.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing
Yes.
we have. Yeah.
So that is what the conditioned life is, no? That's why we are called the conditioned living entities, right? So we are actually conditioned in the material world, and that is even we see that great sages actually they are not able to really control, right? They fall down actually, because of this. So this is the design of the material world in such a way that because the living entities want to enjoy and they want to be in the bodily platform, they want to forget Krishna. They have created a strong attachment actually, right, in the material world, by which actually everybody it's like a knot, very strong knot, which is tying the living entity here in the illusion. So that is a fundamental principle also, right? So once we are able to overcome that, then actually we can make fast progress. And many times we have seen that no, it is not possible to overcome that by one's own endeavor. Okay, we have to be sincere. We should sincerely endeavor that we want to overcome, but only by mercy of other devotees, no, and the spiritual master we can overcome. Actually, it is. Otherwise, it is very strong. So that is why it is more very important that we should completely surrender, or no, we should try to serve. So the service is very important because of that. When when we are sincerely serving the spiritual master, right, by their mercy, actually we get the strength to overcome the bondage. Otherwise, it is not possible. There are various bondages actually. Some of them are gross, some of them are subtle. In some people may give up actually, these activities, but no, they may remain in the mental platform. They may be hovering actually. Mentally, they may be trying to imagine things and enjoy. Right. Ultimately,
Yes.
end of the day, the point is that when the time of death comes, right, what
Mhm.
is that which you are most attached? That actually will determine our next body. That we have seen, no? That
Yeah.
andagale shamameva smaran muktva kalevaram yeprayadi samad bhavam yadi nastyatra samshaya. Then yamyam vabhismaran bhavam sajadante kalevaram tamtamevedi kauntaya sadarad bhava. So whatever state of mind a person quits his body, he will attain that state. So the thing is that no, we see that no, now when the COVID is there, many devotees actually have gone to very dangerous situation. No, like we know many of our devotees in the close circle
Mhm.
actually they went to very dangerous. No, they were like almost like no on the
Yeah.
verge of
Mhm.
actually leaving. So those devotees like from their experience we can understand actually what how they went through, what they're thinking. So that we really understand at that time that it's very difficult to give up the attachment, because if you're attached to our children, no, you're attached to our spouse, right, naturally we will be worrying about that. When you're in the hospital we'll think, oh, will I lose them, what will happen to them, who will take care of them, all these things actually. So if we are in that consciousness, that state, that means that we have a very long way to go. If you leave the
Yeah.
body in such a consciousness, that means that definitely we'll take birth again. We may not
Mhm.
become dogs and cats, but again we'll have to take one more birth. Maybe we get a human birth if you have done a lot of spiritual activity, very good birth. But again, the
Um,
problem is that's a big risk because we have to start again, all over again, right? What all those things we did until now, we have to again do all over again, which is a big risk. So that is why ultimately, the end of the day, we should come to a stage where anytime we have to leave the body, we should be ready. We should not think that okay, whatever it is, we will have so many responsibilities. According, these are all imagined my mental concoctions, though they are truth. But nevertheless, anything can be, in one day the entire state can be wiped out, right? Or the entire region can be wiped out. Anything can happen. The world can end. So many things can happen. We think that no, if I am not there, everything will collapse. That is one aspect, a responsibility aspect. Second thing is the attachment aspect. Thinking that no, like we are too attached, that no, we naturally think about them, right? Whoever we are more attached. So all these things are like no, these are all the different ways of shackles of Maya. We can think like that. So we have to understand that we have to really aim that we gradually become detached from all these things. Otherwise, it's very difficult actually to go back.
And one more thing, Prabhuji, I heard, like if you remember while death also, if you remember Lord Krishna, you may enter to Golaka Vrindavana, but not enter into inside his gate, it seems. Like only if spiritual master is there, then he will take us inside. Is
Yeah,
that true?
I don't know Mataji exactly. Maybe yeah. So see, we can only go by the mercy of our spiritual master. That is true.
Yeah.
So, but generally, most of the places is mentioned, no, like if you're able to remember the Lord, then we will go back. So automatically, Lord is merciful, right? So
Yes.
he will actually tell the spiritual master to receive us. So whatever it is, because
Okay.
both of them are important. So by Krishna we get a guru, and by guru we get Krishna. They say, right? So they
Yes.
are actually like both of them are like very important. Actually, both of them are very equally important. So yeah, ultimately we should be very sincere, try our best, and try to help others sincerely, right? Then actually the rest of the thing the Lord will take care, because He is there as Paramatma in our heart. He's there as Paramatma in the spiritual master's heart, right? He's there as Paramatma in everybody's heart. So naturally, Lord will actually, we have to depend on the Lord and the spiritual master.
Yes.
So we should do our best and then rest, leave to the Lord.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what we can do, we are very limited actually.
Yeah, this is something like what I feel is I know many things. It is like in the night I saw a pothole in the my with darkness. In the morning when we walk with open eyes, we go and fell into that. That is what I feel every day. I am doing, Prabhuji, even though knowing all many things, not following the things.
Mm. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, I think one of the best ways actually is to do more service, Mataji. So try to take up some service, like some preaching activity or small activity. When we do some preaching activity, we get more mercy actually. So sometimes we may have some past this thing, no, what you call our karmic baggage, right?
Yes,
Which actually, because of which it will be more difficult for us to make progress sometimes. Everybody goes through different situation, but when we take up some service, right, for the Lord, then all these things will be easily defeated actually. They all will be dissolved, and our obstacles will be removed. So we'll be able to make faster progress at that time. Association of devotees, all these things are important. Associating devotees is very important actually here.
yes.
Okay, devotees. So any other questions are there in this part? This is more than okay. So Grahasa life, any questions are there, devotees? Anybody has any doubts?
Yeah, Prabhuji, one question I heard, I have in Grihastha life actually. So actually, this is a very practical level question. I would like to ask here.
Mhm.
So Prabhuji, yeah, I mean, this is always a contradictory I face actually, and confusion I face. So when when I read and when I listen the acharyas or any spiritual lectures, they mention that we should more focus on spirituality than the material things. That is true, but again,
Mhm.
to survive, I mean, to survive here in material world, we have to we have to also do our regular activities and also, I mean, our duties actually, and we have to also means to survive here, we have to also focus on our uh, uh, income, means money income and salaries and all those things.
Yes.
And also we are facing nowadays, we are facing the issues of inflation. That means the education fees are increasing, the medical fees are also increasing in those things. So to beat that inflation, we have to also focus on incrementing our income also, money income also.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
I'm facing the means that difficult actually. I mean, where and how much focus should be there, or sometimes we means in the spiritual lecture also, I listen that we should surrender whatever Krishna gives. We should do that. So in that context, I'm a bit confused that how, where to surrender and how that surrender should be, and also where means just to beat the inflation, and for the survival purpose, how much we should focus on our business to get the to get the survival benefit actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, bro. That's a nice question. So this question, I think, it's a very basic question. No? In the sense, most of the people have this question. So basically, see, there is no one straightforward answer, I would say. So many of the answers in spirituality will depends on actually who is practicing it. Okay. So what I meant to say is that there are some, for example, we know that okay, we can just tell what are the rules and regulations. In the sense, what are the formula? What is the formula? Right? For example, if you are able to completely surrender, then actually you get complete benefit. Okay, but if you're able to surrender 50%, then you'll get 50%. If you get surrender only 10%, you will get 10% benefit. Okay, but ultimately we have to surrender 100% before we can go back to spiritual world. So this we can just understand what are the rules and regulations of this particular of the philosophical part, and then decide what we can do at any given point of time, right? One of the ways we can say from a practical way, if you since you asked practically, so what actually is mentioned here is that retired life is starting at 50 years, right? So maybe until 15 years you have to work, actually you can work, that permission is given. Okay, but somebody can, but it depends on what is our capacity, to surrender, right? We should not do something which is not possible, in the sense, if you surrender prematurely, in the sense, we don't have the real maturity in the spiritual path. We don't have the full conviction in the past, and then if you prematurely surrender, then it could happen that, no, you will give up actually, and then again come back to the old situation, and after that you will not surrender at all. So that is more dangerous actually. So it is better that, based on how much faith and no faith we develop in Krishna or in the spiritual master, in the process, accordingly we should surrender. We should increase our surrender slowly, whatever is possible. So but only problem is that we don't know how long we are going to live, right? In a general situation, this is what is mentioned, that till 50 years we are allowed to work actually, at least 50 years. Okay, but many devotees work beyond 50 years also. So that is not a problem. So Prabhupada also, during Prabhupada's time also, no, there were actually people who were grihastha. So if you are grihastha, then you can work. Prabhupada has given the concession. But actually, then we should use the money, as much as possible. We should support the movement actually, the preaching activities. Then whatever money and the karma that you get of working, right, will be purified. Okay, so practically one of the ways of looking at it, that you can at least work till 50. Until 50 you can do hard work, but hard work should not mean not complete compromise. Like maybe 8 hours you can work per day, or maybe 10 hours maximum, right? And then in that 8 to 10 hours, whatever best you can give and work hard, and then try to get good income. No, you can change the job, whatever it is, you can do that. But the problem is that every activity decision we take, we should think that whether it is favorable for me. No, you may get double the salary in another company, but you'll have to slog all the time. Double, you have to work night also, you have to take call, you cannot get up in the morning. So if that is the case, we should not take it up, because then our sadhana we can't continue, right? We cannot do hard work by completely compromising our sadhana and spiritual life. So whatever the basic sadhana, we should be able to do all the time. And no, and then if in the remaining time, whatever is possible, you can work hard and try to get money and save the money, so that, no, by 50 years actually you can get some good income or some saving, and then you can retire actually completely and dedicate your life. This is one of the ways of looking at it. Okay, this is a practical thing, I would say. But otherwise actually, somebody is really convinced in the entire process, who has fully faith in Krishna, he can give the job anytime. He can give up everything at any time, because ultimately the Lord is maintaining everything, right? We think that I am maintaining my family, everything, but ultimately Krishna is actually the source of everything, and no, indirectly he is doing everything, right? And for a devotee, it is mentioned, if you are a surrendered devotee, then Krishna will completely take care of your life. Okay, your life, it doesn't mean that, see, Krishna knows what is best for us, not from the bodily platform, no? Because ultimately our aim is to go back to Krishna, right? From the soul's perspective, Krishna knows everything. He knows all your past birth. So he knows what is going to come in the future, right? And he knows what will be good for you. For somebody, like immediately surrendering may be good, right? But the Lord can take care of everything. Ultimately we should look from that perspective. But we may not have that faith in the beginning. So till that time, we can incrementally, increase our surrender little by little, trying to dedicate more and more time for spiritual activities. Trying to, so dedication or surrender means actually, to preach. That is the most important thing. Dedicated surrender doesn't only mean that mentally surrendering. We have to show our surrender by actually be ready to take risks for the Lord actually, and for the acharyas, for the parampara. So that means preaching, right? We have to take preaching, because in preaching there is a lot of risk. See, one most important thing of preaching is that that is most pleasing to the Lord, because no, Lord has told in Bhagavad Gita, right? He want everybody to, as many people as to come back to him. So if you help others, the Lord is very pleased. That will give us a lot of boost in spiritual life, right? And yeah, and then when you preach, actually you are taking risk for the Lord, because we have to subject ourselves to various conditions whereby our ego maybe get crushed. Like we have to take many risks actually, right? Many situations which may be unfavorable, we have to preach. So the Lord will see how much risk you are taking for him, and all these things actually will make our life faster, and our surrender will be faster. Did I answer you, Prabhu, or you have any specific points further?
Yeah, Prabhuji. Yeah. So correct. Yeah, and this is a very good answer. I mean, I was looking for this answer from many.
Yeah, the answer may be easy to get, but actually to follow is very difficult always.
Prabhuji is very, very difficult, Prabhuji, to
Yeah.
balance both. How to balance both, not for us, for the breadwinners, is very, very difficult. Which way to go, when to go, how much to go, because the family also has to be looked after. It's a little difficult. I think 50 is too
Yes.
early to stop working because in this cutthroat competition of ours, in this material world, your job, there are thousands of people waiting to take your job. So unless you give 100% to your job, you have to be there 100%. You will lose your job. Then
Yes, Bhakti. So
automatically you'll have to depend on Krishna only, because you won't
that is
have
what
anything. Yeah.
so that is what a question of faith, Mataji. See,
Yes.
somebody
Yes.
actually somebody is fully surrendered. He will not. He'll think that whatever happens, the Lord will take care. And and if even if I lose the job, he will think that no, that is what Lord wants actually. Maybe by losing the job, I may become more serious in Krishna consciousness. See, ultimately, my aim is to go back to Krishna, right? But my aim is not to become prosperous here or no to gain fame and wealth. All those things. It is not my aim. So that is what. So prematurely, we should not think that. I mean, we should not give up. But a mature devotee will not bother about anything else in the material world. He'll not be concerned about anything, what others think here, what actually what will happen to anybody who's dependent. He'll not think anything because he knows that Krishna is the maintainer of everything. So there is a the saying that Rake Krishna Mare Krishna Rake means this one thing that if Krishna decides to kill somebody, right, then nobody can protect him. And if Krishna decides to protect somebody, nobody can kill him. So we can think like if Krishna wants to make somebody make prosperous, nobody can stop it. And if Krishna wants to make somebody to become a beggar or poor person, nobody can stop that also, because ultimately he is the proprietor of everything. See, so because we think like this, no, we think from this perspective because we don't have the complete faith in the Lord, right? So also it is like it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, no, ye yada mam prabadyante tam tadeva bhajameham. So basically the Lord will reciprocate to the extent we surrender to him. So somebody is 10% surrendered, no, Lord will not interfere in his life at all. No, like in the sense, okay, he will appreciate that, he may give opportunity, but no, he will not reciprocate much with him. Somebody is 50% surrendered, right? Then Lord will reciprocate only to 50%. No, but somebody who's 100% surrendered, right? He's completely surrendered, he's fully depending on Krishna, Lord. Then the Krishna will completely take care of his life. Everything whatever is requires, he'll give, right? But that will not be as per what we desire actually. We are if we are not completely mature or having faith, we will always desire that I want good environment, right? I want good money, I want good house, good family. This is what we will desire. But actually, we know, right, as we discuss so many things, we know that that is not the best thing for us to go back to Krishna, right? Because that attachments are always a problem. So slowly, it is not that today we can do that, but I someday, unless until we come to the stage where we are completely detached from all the material things, we cannot go back to Krishna. It is not possible because he will not. He does because that is our desire, right? He doesn't want to what you call overrule our desire. As long as the living entity has the desire to become independent and enjoy, he will not actually try to force you, right? So that is the point actually. So this is a question of how much faith we have. So somebody who is fully faithful, I mean, he has 100% faith that Krishna will do what is best for me, right? Whatever it is, actually, I'm having 100% faith. Just like a small child, an innocent child has complete faith in the father. Now, he will not think anything. He will not be worried about anything. Wherever the father takes, he will go, right? Even though apparently it may be a dangerous situation, he will not doubt actually. He will think that okay, my father actually he is my well wisher. He will take care of me, even if it takes to for example, if we know that a child, if your father asks to jump from the top, the child doesn't think twice. No, he'll just jump actually because he knows that father will catch him. So similarly, a person who is full faith in the Lord, he knows that Krishna will do only what is best for me ultimately. So in that way, if you're surrendered, then actually none of these things really matters. But till that time, yeah, practical perspective, all these things we'll think that no, like I have to work till I may have to save. Like, I'll think calculate saying that okay, I have to save 10 crore. If I save, then actually I can live for another 20 years. So let me try to save 10 crores or 5 crores, whatever it is. We do some calculations, right? But all these calculations are one day everything can blow off. Just suddenly if you get a huge disease, or no, somebody can steal our money, or some problem can happen. No, now there are so many cyber fraud is happening. There so many things are possible. All our money can go in one moment. That is possible even if you save so much. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that no, we should be foolish, no, and then don't do anything. That is not the point actually. So that's what the point. The question is about incrementally making progress and incrementally surrendering, incrementally increasing our faith, step by step, slowly. And some point of time, no, our faith will be so much that we actually can give up completely. Otherwise, still before that, we should not artificially try to do anything. Till that time, we should keep going like what we are doing. Associated devotees, do whatever is practical, work actually, be reasonable. Whatever office you are doing, try to give a honest effort. Like no, like whatever 8 hours I'm working, let me try to put 8 hours for the office. No, not trying to do other things during the time. Be serious about work, and then no, like that we try to make progress actually. And some point of time, automatically we have a desire in the no. If you have a sincere desire in the heart, no, we always pray to the Lord that no, Lord, actually I'm somehow I'm forced to work now, right? This environment is not very good actually. The corporate world is very difficult. There are so many difficulties. My mind is always worried. People always push pressure on me. So it's very difficult actually for me to work. But nevertheless, you want me to work now, no, I'm not able to give up. So, but if you have a desire saying that no, I want to actually surrender and work for you completely, if you have a desire like that and you pray to Krishna, you'll definitely create a situation, sooner or later, by which actually you can give up the job and still you will be able to maintain your family without any problem. Right? That Lord can do anything actually, but yeah, it all depends on our desire, how sincere we are, etc., etc., etc. Definitely, all these things are not easy. Chitra Mataji, I agree completely. No, 100% I agree with you. But it also depends on how we think about the things, how our desires are, how much faith we are. All those things also matters. Is that fine, Mataji? Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
I have to leave. I think Revati Mataji just left. I think.
Yes, Prabhuji. She left.
Okay, let's move on then. Okay, I think it's already 6:20, right? So, any other questions? Are there devotees? Anybody has any questions here? Let us move to retired life. Then, if you don't have any question, okay. In retired life, anybody has any questions, or can somebody can tell what are the important points here? Vanaprastha. This is Vanaprastha. So Vanaprastha is something which is rarely practiced, in even among devotees. But yeah, what is the understanding of Vanaprastha? Somebody can summarize. Satyamadaji can tell maybe.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare
You,
Krishna.
you are
They
in
say that,
Vanaprastha now.
I know, Prabhuji, that after 50 years of age, one is supposed to retire and leave all household affairs. This is
Yeah.
and that is what was followed earlier. And the person is supposed to travel, retire, and then travel to holy places.
Yes.
And then along with the wife, and then gradually leaves the wife in the care of older children and follow the spiritual path. But somehow
Yes.
I feel at this stage of, in this present circumstances, it's not all that easy, no, Prabhuji. This was perhaps earlier, no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
and
So,
I
so
mean,
in the age of 40 only, all sugar, BP will come, and we are not able to. We have to dependent on kids. We can't. Nobody can progress. I think in this way, leaving
it's
that's
home.
difficult.
Yeah.
but this happened few and not very old, like maybe for 50 60 years back also, no, it was very common that people leave the home and go, right? Somebody will go to Kashi, they say I'm going to Kashi or Varanasi. Like this used to happen actually, if you look at your grandparents or maybe few generations before, it was not very uncommon actually that people just leave the house, at some old age. Yeah, but nowadays in among devotees also this Vanaprastha is very less practice. See, the principle is that if you can become Krishna consciousness, right? If you are able to become
Yeah.
Krishna consciousness any ashrama, then it is good actually. No, it is not necessary that no you have to see Vanaprastha originally means going to forest. Vana, no,
Yeah.
Vana means Vana. Vanaprastha
Yeah.
means going to the forest is what it means. So olden times they used to go to the forest only. They leave the family, go to the forest and live there. No, they make a small hermitage, like they live like a sage or a hermit, right? They used to give, like we know that many we can see many incidents in Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Dhritarashtra is one of the example, no, which actually he did not live for a long time and Vidura forces him, and finally he took Vanaprastha and Gandhari goes to the forest, right? Like that, there are so many examples actually. They used to go, they give give up the life and go. I mean, family life and leave the idea. What is the idea principle behind this Vanaprastha?
It's to develop your God consciousness, Krishna consciousness, no,
Yes.
Prabhuji?
At the same time,
You
develop detachment. Detachment is more
detach.
important
That's
actually.
what. Yeah.
You are giving up the family, right? See, when you are living in the house, right, it is very difficult to become detached because you are always get involved in all these problems, right? In your house, for example, you're an old person, but still so many things bothers you, right? Like so many issues will be there, like problem with the, like there can be so many things, right? Just running the family is a big headache. There may be some problems. Sometimes your daughter is married but still there are problems, with their other family, right? Some There's so many issues may come, or no, or some grandchildren will have some issue, something or other will always be bothering you. There will be quarrel between the children, or somebody may pester you to get the money, like partitioning the property, whatever. So there are so many botherations actually when you are living in family, and then you will get entangled in all these things. So that is why we have to give up and go. All these things, no, just give it and go. Then actually, we can focus on the Lord. Generally, the family environment is, unless until everybody is devotee, right? It is very difficult to focus on Krishna consciousness if you are in a normal materialistic family. So many things keep bothering us. So ultimately, the point is that any environment that is conducive for us to practice Krishna consciousness, then any environment that is conducive to remember the Lord, right? That actually is should be taken. Whether you are brahmachari, or grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi, it actually, the principle is this, that we have to have an environment by which we can focus. You may be a brahmachari, but actually, but you may be doing so many offenses in the mind. Like you may be trying to do sense gratification. Then what is the use? Actually, it is not useful, right? Just for sake, I'm saying brahmachari or a sannyasi, but actually, I'm doing other activities. It is not good. Whatever, if you're a brahmachari and you're able to remember the Lord, naturally a brahmachari will have a better possibility to remember the Lord, because he can actually, he doesn't have so many botheration of working, family, all those things. He doesn't have to worry, right? So he have all the mind and all the mentality to actually, if he wants, he can focus on the Lord. He can do service. Similarly, sannyasi also, right? They don't have responsibilities. So naturally, the brahmachari or a sannyasi has a more conducive environment by which actually he can focus on spiritual topics. But it is not necessary that, no, just because he has a facility, he'll utilize it to the best extent. It may not be. Sometimes it is possible that a grahastha may be more Krishna conscious than actually a brahmachari. It is possible, right? If the environment is favorable, his family members are also supporting, and then actually is able to engage in service. Then even being a grahastha, he can be Krishna conscious to a great extent. So even if you're a vanaprastha, right, old person, right, it is possible actually. But then we have to understand that the original principle is that in every environment we should have a situation by which actually we are always able to remember the Lord and focus on him, and try to practice devotional service. That is the ultimate purpose actually.
Yes,
Satyamataji,
yes, Prabhuji.
question, any
Yeah,
question?
I understand. Yes, Prabhuji, but it is difficult, Prabhuji. It is
Yeah.
not all that easy because we are still pulled down since we live in a family. We still have
Yes.
the attachments and, basically to help around. We can't just detach when we're staying in a family, no, directly. But try to
Yeah.
practice
This
as
decision,
much
yes,
as we can.
yes, Mataji. Do that's what I don't do anything prematurely, but
Correct.
yes, these decisions are difficult actually. The
Yeah.
give up family life, right? Is it difficult at any stage actually? Whether you are a grahastha, you're a vanaprastha, any stage actually, it is not an easy decision, because that is actually also the measure of our attachment, right, to the family. That is also it is indicating. If you are not able to give up, or when we feel that it is difficult, actually it indicates that, no, there is some kind of attachment is there, strong attachment. Maybe we may be thinking, no, oh, these people are helpless. They need our support. If we don't support them, no, then it's very difficult for them to manage. Like we may be thinking in various ways, but nevertheless, end of the day, we have to understand clearly that all these relationships are temporary, right? It's just a matter of, some time, few years, right? That actually this relationship changes. We have to take another relationship, right? All these people are changing. The roles will change, right? We will take another human birth, and then we will get a new parents, new children. Everything will change. It's just a temporary thing. We have to understand that always, and then accordingly see what is most important for us, right? See, ultimately, yeah, we cannot be like completely what you call uh, but it's a decision, right? We understand everything, and then the decision is ours. It's a harsh decision, but actually we have to see, if you have to really make progress, then sometimes we have to take harsh decisions. So yeah, but at the same time, we should not, if you do it prematurely, then actually we'll repent after some time, and then we'll come back to the same situation, and then after that it will be difficult for us to again pursue this. So that is very important, that we should really be convinced and completely what I call matured and determined, and fully understood that thing. Full faith is there. Then only we should take decisions like that. But till that time, we can actually continue whatever situation we are. But we have to understand. Always remember that, okay, this is what actually the situation is.
But Prabhuji, I feel that, as we are progressing, the God will show us the way. He will show us the way, Prabhuji.
Yeah, that it depends on how much sincere, Mataji, how much sincere and surrender we have. According to that action, He will show us the way.
He
But
will show.
we cannot just, we can't completely expect that Lord will only show. No, in the sense, we have to do our part. They say, no, like what is that? God helps those who help themselves, right? Or like
Yes.
50% we put, and then Lord will put 50%. So we have to put our 50%, and then Lord will put out his 50% in that case. But we should not also think that automatically everything will change. That may not happen. We have to put some endeavor from our side also. Lord will expect us to put some endeavor. Lord sees how much risk we told, like in preaching, He sees how much risk we are ready to take. So similarly, Lord will see how much risk we are ready to take in our to make progress in spiritual life. Then He will help us. But things will not change automatically. That suddenly one morning everything changes. No, okay, no, that will not happen actually. Uh, we have to also do our part, and then slowly it will change.
Yes, Prabhuji, the detachment comes, Prabhuji. It comes slowly. But
Yeah,
it
yeah.
definitely comes as you progress, no?
Yes.
It happens, yeah.
Prabhuji, detachment will come, but what about your dharma? What about the man's, once he's married, doesn't have the dharma, the duty to look after his family, Prabhuji?
Yes, that's what I see. As per
That,
the
because
Vedic
dharma
culture,
cannot be given up, no? That is wrong. If you don't follow your dharmas, then it is wrong, no, Prabhuji.
yes, Mataji. See, as per the Vedic culture, the dharma, the duty is till 50 years. Till 50 years, actually, you are responsible. You have to make your children independent, right? The children should be like either daughters are there, they should be married, or if they're sons, we should ensure that okay, they get a job, for example, they can get an income. So with that, actually, you are actually you can be free from the duty responsibilities. That is what actually Vedic culture is saying, and that is what is expected. That's all. So it is not that Vanaprastha, as I told Mataji, it is difficult. So husband and wife can go to a pilgrimage place. For example, they can go to a holy place and settle, stay there. That is also Vanaprastha. You can think, no, as long as they are able to engage in spiritual life. No, we should not do like, for example, there's a 50 after 60 years or 55 years, husband actually, he just leaves his wife and go away against the wish. That may not be a good thing. If he is completely surrendered, it is still fine. He will not get any sins or in reaction. But actually, we have to be practical. So if the wife is dependent on the husband, both of them should go to a place actually, and then no, and then try to practice Krishna consciousness. Go to a favorable place, go to holy dham, live near a temple, and then maybe there actually they can have a conducive environment. So yeah, Mataji.
I think that's a better idea, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Stay in a dham or something like that. But to
yes,
suddenly leave and go and leave them in this bad world full of wolves is very, very difficult, Prabhuji. And
yes,
that too
yes.
at the
So
age of 50, that means the lady is so young. The children are so young, Prabhuji, nowadays.
yeah, so
So
50 years actually.
it sounds
Yeah,
very impossible. And that too, if they go together, once the children are settled, married, and they go together, fine. And then continue the spiritual activities, that's perfect.
that's what
But
Mataji. So
yeah,
50 years
to
actually, the
abandon
50
and
years,
go
no,
is a little bit.
no, no,
I
yeah,
know the
right.
Krishna will look after, but it seems a little bit abandonment.
Correct. See, the 50 years, Mataji, 50 years is given from the Vedic culture. So in olden times, right, they actually for example, the girls, they got married in a very small age, like 14 years, 15 years, or even less. They got married actually. So that means that no, in olden culture, basically the children will grow up by 40 years only. They would be already settled by 40 years. So 50 years is actually some extra time is there. So in olden, as per the olden system, by 50 years, definitely, children would have been settled. They will be everything would have been settled in life. But now in today's world, it may be not be possible to go in 50. We can say that it is 60 years because in practically everything is 60 years nowadays, right? And the retirement is 60 years. So it's okay. Maybe you can work. So basically, the yardstick would be to ensure that no, your dependents are actually settled. Like for example, the children, girls are married. The boys, they have actually got a job. And then they once they get a job, then they are independent. They can maintain themselves. So this, and then if the wife is not favorable, then he can leave actually. Wife is not ready to listen, or no, or the other way around actually. Either way, like basically one other partner is not favorable and they are not supporting you, then it's possible okay that you can leave and go as long as they have some support actually, right? So otherwise there's no point actually, like if the other person is not supportive and you both go and then always create trouble, then you will not be able to be peaceful and practice Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So it can be today's world. You can think that it's 60 years, maybe that's also fine as long as your children are settled, right? And then they become independent, then it's fine. So this is as per the Varnashrama system, right? But actually there are scriptural quotes, no, which says that uh, somebody actually, he leaves everything, even in a young age. We can see many instances, no, where some actually pure devotees, I mean, in the sense, they're very exalted devotees, they give up everything when they are very young. Actually, the wife, everything they give. So somebody who's completely surrendered to Krishna, right? For them, actually, there is no responsibility. This is for not possible for everybody, right? But some people actually they are completely pure and then completely dedicate. See, because everything is run by the Lord. Lord has a plan. Everything is happening by Lord's plan. And so for them there is no this thing, what you call binding.
But then
I think these
Prabhuji, why get married in the first place and then abandon, Prabhuji?
yes,
If they
better to
have
not.
the
Yeah, if that is the case,
then
it's better not to get married. Sure, that's
Yeah,
true.
not to get married, not to
But
get kids.
sometimes
no, I
everybody
mean
is.
it's just not fair, no?
Yeah.
Because somebody I remember told me, you know, when they heard that I was with ISKCON. Yes, there's somebody in Bombay. I don't know the name or anything. Young wife, child, everything left and went off, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
So then I said maybe he was forced to get married. That also
yeah, yeah.
parents do, na?
Yes, that's
They
possible.
force the person to get married, thinking that way he will stay back. So
Yes,
I mean, I said there are always two sides to it, you know.
yes. Yeah, so
That
And one
it's
more
always
thing,
better not to
Prabhuji,
marry.
yeah,
yeah.
one more
Mm.
thing is after aged, we may be dependent on kids. Now that time, then
Mm.
that will be another case only. Prabhuji. We may not be able to, our body may not be due to health issues and all, we may not be able to go to the spiritual places and stay there, holy dhams and all. We may be
Yes,
dependent on our kids or family members, and we can't say it like we cannot detached. We can show like detached, but we have to be dependent again.
that's true, Mataji. So that's what is, we need Lord's mercy actually, you know, to
Yes,
practice devotional service, and devotees' mercies are
Yeah.
required.
and
Otherwise,
I
we can't
think
do. But
Lord's mercy there should be there from beginning, from the womb only, and he should decide. Okay,
no,
not to
anytime we
get
can get
married.
actually Lord's mercy. You know, you see, the moment you decide to surrender to the Lord fully,
Yeah,
sincerely, He shows His mercy actually. It
yeah.
is not
By
possible.
that
See,
time,
whatever.
we might have not accumulated all sins, much probably.
Now is the time actually for everybody. You know, they say Adado Brahma Jitnasa. Now is the time to inquire. Now is the time to surrender actually. Don't delay it any further. No,
Yeah,
try to do
Yeah.
best, try to dedicate maximum. Then actually Lord will show His mercy. He will not put us in a condition where no, we are not able to practice Krishna consciousness. If our desire is sincere, no, if you sincerely endeavor and no pray to the Lord, then actually He will definitely help us. He doesn't want us to be trouble, in a troublesome situation. Right? So there will be some tests. Small tests will be there definitely, but no, He will not. He will save us actually from the conditions. Like that, we should have faith.
Yes,
Sometimes no,
Prabhuji.
Lord puts us obstacle because no, just to test us. He may give tests to check how much serious are you. So he may put small hurdles, no, but that also we'll think that okay, they will fail, say that it is too much to cross. I can't do it. Actually, we can easily jump over it, but we don't want to do that. We think that it is too much. So
condition.
whatever he gives, normally is something we can pass. He'll give some test by which we can pass, and he sees how much sincere are you. Are you ready? If you're not ready to cross a small hurdle, then how can we, take the path of spirituality like that? So we should always associate with devotees by their mercy. We get more and more piety, and then try to preach, as much as possible. By that, I get the mercy of the Lord and spiritual master. By doing all these activities, no, we can make faster progress. All these hurdles and obstacles will be removed. We'll be able to cross over all these things. That shloka I always told, no, like when we read that padam padam yavibadam, right? Then desham. That shloka is there actually. So for actually this material world is full of danger at every step, right? But one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunta, this material ocean, which is very vast and unsurmountable, will appear like the water contained in the hoof print of a calf. Right? It will become very small thing, like small puddle it will become. Actually, otherwise, if you're not surrendered to Krishna, this actually is a material ocean. That's why it is called Bhavasagara, right? It's an ocean of material existence, which is very, very difficult, unsurmountable for anyone to cross over by his own attempt. That is why we gave the other example also that the rarely, Durlabham Manusha Janmam. After so many lifetime, we had many parents, we had many sense gratification, we have taken care of our parents, we have done all our duty perfectly. Nevertheless, again, we are taken birth here, right? So many births have already passed. We have done all these things in many lifetimes. We have perfected, done perfect. Some life we are very nice. We have done everything perfectly. Some lifetime we may not have done it, but nevertheless, at the end of the day, again we are now here. So unless and until we get a suitable body, which to cross, suitable ship to cross this ocean, the ship is actually the human body, because there are many boats available, various animal species, etc., etc. But only the human body is a suitable ship to cross this material ocean. But that is not the only condition, right? Just because you got a good ship, we need a captain, the spiritual master. By it's you are extremely merciful, fortunate when you get a spiritual master, right? Brahmanda Brahmide Kono Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Kripa Paya Bhakti Lata Bish. So by such a mercy or a fortunate person gets the spiritual master, who is a captain who can sail this ship. This is also not complete actually. What also we need is favorable winds, which are the scriptures. So we take shelter of the scriptures also, right? Spiritual master, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So when all these conditions are available to us, then actually there is a chance that we can cross this material ocean, right? So that is by surrendering to the lotus feet of Krishna, Mukunda, who is actually the giver of liberation, right? So that is the point actually. So we have to understand all these things, no? And then it's a very rare opportunity that we get. Param Padam Yavibandam. That sloka is very nice sloka. Padam. Anybody remembers that? Padam Padam Yavadam Yadesham. Anybody remembers that we discussed it earlier? Samashrittaye pada pada vallava plavam Mahat Padam Punyayasho Murare Bhavambudirvatsa Padam Param Padam 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 Yadvipadam Natesham. For those who have accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Murari, the enemy of the Muradaman, the ocean of the material world is like water contained in the calf's footprint. Their goal is Parampadam, Vaikunta, and the place where there are no material miseries, not the place where there every step there is danger. So this shloka we can remember actually. So if you take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, then everything that is appearing to us very difficult, no, will become very easy to overcome. For that we need to have the faith actually. That also has to come by time. Yeah. Any other questions about this? Satyamaraji, is it fine?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. I feel we should be close to a temple, Prabhuji.
Yeah, the temple is having
For
one. We can follow all devotees become serious, no? Then we can build a temple here nearby. We tried, no, but somehow we didn't
I
get enough
know.
support. Now we can try again. If see, basically more devotees should sincerely feel that okay, we should have a temple. Then the temple will manifest automatically.
Yeah. For us, for us at this age, a temple close by will be the best in the present situation in what we are.
Yes, they also say, if what is that? If mountain doesn't come to Muhammad, Muhammad will go to mountain. Something like that. There's a saying.
Yeah.
So if Mount Temple doesn't come here, you can go to the temple. We have a temple in Sheshadripuram. There are also flats available for sale and rent. We can go and stay there also. If immediately we want to do something, that is possible.
Actually, I was thinking, Prabhuji, they should arrange for some retreats at Sheshadripuram, no, Prabhuji.
Retreat means what? Go and stay for
Like
short period of time.
yeah, for short periods and all. No, I mean, I was seriously thinking along those lines,
See, as of now,
for
if you
short.
want, you can. Kripan Prabhu's flat is available. You can go and stay there if you want to stay for some days in the weekend.
Okay.
But till it is rented out actually, or I think Kripan Prabhu himself is planning to move. I think there after some time. So as of now,
No,
it is
that's what
available.
I'm saying. No, Prabhuji, at Sheshadripuram, supposing they have like a program, no, like group of like-minded people, no, to it'll be good. Like instead of thinking, okay, we will have to go to Mayapur, Vrindavan. When I really am I was thinking, after a
We can
certain
stay on.
point of
Yeah,
time, you
renting is
can't
possible
travel.
now.
Prabhuji, yeah, sometime back, I remember last year, one of the Prabhuji, I don't remember his name.